everybody, and welcome to Pi International Education. In today's video, we will be taking a look at the Ielts writing section, and we have Abdullah sir with us to help us out with this particular topic. Thank you so much, Abdullah sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. Good evening to everyone, and hello from Pi International. It's lovely to be here with you guys. Thank you.
So we'll start out with understanding a little bit about the writing test of IELTS. Abdullah sir, can you give us just an overview of what it is?
Sure. The writing test of the IELTS exam, it has a duration of total 60 minutes. And it normally has two tasks. It has task 1 and task 2. Task 1 is basically about, some graphic or some pictorial information. And task 2 is about an essay writing, basically on report, on discussion, argument, opinion, text, etc.
Academic writing consists of two tasks. Task 1 requires the candidate to write 150 words, analyzing some data or a diagram. This task is for 20 minutes. Task 2 requires you write the essay or present your point of view on an opinion or a problem. This task is for 30 minutes and has 250 words.
So what type of questions can you expect in writing task 1?
Sure. In writing task 1, we normally have 5 different types of questions that we can expect. There might be a graph and a table. In terms of graph, I can refer to something like line chart or bar chart, proportional bar graph and table, etc. There can be pie charts. There can be a multiple chart and graph. There can be map. There can be map of some place or maybe a particular area, and maybe a floor plan as well. Or there could be a process diagram, like of a particular machine, how it works. A flow chart of diagram of how it works. So these are the types of questions that we normally get in task 1.
And how can students tackle task 1 of IELTS? Like, do you have any techniques or tips that you'd like to share?
Definitely. The first tip that I always give my students is understand how the test is being marked. Being aware of the marking criteria will always allow you to give the examiner exactly what they need. Paraphrase the question. By paraphrasing, I mean if you just know the topic, if you just write it in your own words, that's what we call paraphrasing. If you can paraphrase the question, it is the best way to start the task 1 answers. And then we always go for the overview. The overview is basically what you can assume from just having a glance at the pictures. And then if you can support support your answers with some of the features from the pictures, don't miss out any points. And then once you're done, it's just 150 words. So once you're done, it shouldn't be taking that long. Check your answer and make sure you didn't miss out any of the points. You have marked out the highest and the lowest, the comparisons, and the significant differences. For example, if they give you a comparison question between 2 pie charts, what is the significant change in each pie chart, and how you should answer them. These are the things that the examiners are always looking for. Like if the student is actually understanding the pie charts and can distinguish between those two. This is how I should always prepare my students.
Thank you so much for those techniques and tips. What about writing task 2? So what kind of questions can students expect?
In writing task 2, there are almost 5 types of questions that we expect. There will be an essay based on opinion. For example, they will ask you they will give you a topic and they will ask you if you agree or disagree. They might give you a topic and they might ask you for the advantages and disadvantages. That's the second one. The third one, they might give you a particular problem and ask for the solution. The fourth, they might give you a discussion, a topic, and they might ask you to give your opinion and discuss both views on that particular topic. And then finally, we have a 2-part question. So these are the 5 different types of questions that we normally expect in writing task 2.
And similar to the techniques that you explained for task 1, do you have any specific tips that you can give for task 2?
Definitely. The first tip that I always give is understand the question, understand what the topic is being talking about and what you really need to do. Whether you're writing for an academic or a general test, if you are on task 2, then make sure you understand how you should start your answer. I always tell my students to write the keywords before starting the answer. Write some keywords. Plan. Make a plan, what you should write in the introduction, what you should write in the body paragraph, what you should write in the conclusion. Mention some of the points. How many paragraphs should you make? What are the points that you should mention over there? Because what happens, once you start writing, if you don't have a planned structure, then in the middle of the writing, you will be stuck. And most students, they just, they get lost. But it's just 250 words. 250 words doesn't take more than 25 minutes at most. So if you have a very planned structure, then it's very easy to write 250 words. But if you don't, then you might get lost in the middle. And I always ask my students to use vocabulary. Good vocabulary is a very strong point over here. Examiners really like some new words. Some students, they have a habit of repeating one word, and that's what I actually discourage. Some students, they have a habit of, making too many paragraphs, but I think they should just make it concise and make it like to the point. Some students, it's something that in IELTS we call coherence. It's like they move out of the topic. They start writing something which is not related to the topic. And then they start losing marks because they won't be rewarded for those points. So I always tell my students to stick to the point, know what the topic is, and make sure your writing is related to that particular topic. So these are some of the tips that I always give for writing text.
What about academic and general training? এই দুটা IELTS এক্সামের মধ্যে কোনো পার্থক্য আছে কিনা regarding writing?
Oh yes, that's a very good question. Basically, most students, they have a confusion like, sir, আমি তো academic or sir, আমি তো general training তাহলে কি আমার জন্য different class হবে বা আমার জন্য different procedure naki. I would like to ensure all my students that IELTS exam je charta part ache almost সবগুলো exam হচ্ছে গিয়ে similar for both academics and general, except for writing task 1 and the reading part. The writing task 1 for the academics ওখানে আসে হচ্ছে গিয়ে একটা pictorial question থাকে বা একটা informative question যা আমি বললাম about maybe pie chart or bar chart. And for general training, it's always a letter writing. Always. It's actually much easier for the general training. And for the reading part, it's a bit different for also for general and for academic. Other than that, there's not much differences in either.
So what about the general training letter writing? Letter writing এর ক্ষেত্রে আপনার কোনো tips আছে কিনা, techniques that you can share?
Sure. In the letter writing, I always tell my students to first identify the type of letter you're being asked to write. And then you have to understand what's the purpose of the letter. Is it some kind of formal? Is it semi-formal? Is it informal? Because if it is a semi-formal or if it is a formal, then there's a different way of addressing the person. If it is a formal letter, then there's another way of addressing the person. If it is a formal letter, then we have a different way of starting the letter. We go straight to the point. If it is an informal letter, then we ask, how are you doing? We ask if they're doing okay or not. We try to make it a bit comfortable scenario. So we have to understand what kind of letter it is or what is the purpose of the letter. And then we start with the introduction. Based on what kind of letter it is, we go for the introduction. And then we start the letter in that appropriate manner. And then we use different phrases. We use some of the phrases and some standard written phrases. And we try to make sure vocabulary is very much important over here. And we try to end with a good conclusion based on whatever the topic is. So these are the tips that I always give for letter writing.
এখন রাইটিং এর ক্ষেত্রে যেটা বেশিরভাগই স্টুডেন্টস আই থিংক স্ট্রাগল করে এটা হচ্ছে টাইম ম্যানেজমেন্ট নিয়ে। তো আপনার কি অ্যাডভাইস দিতে পারেন আমাদের স্টুডেন্টসদের জন্য যে তারা কিভাবে টাইম ম্যানেজ করে সবচেয়ে বেস্ট ভাবে সেই টাইমটা ইউটিলাইজ করতে পারবে ফর IELTS writing?
Thank you, sir. That's a very excellent question. The timing for the IELTS written exam is basically just 60 minutes. Now, আমাদের task 1 and task 2 দুইটা মিলিয়ে যদি 60 minutes থাকে, task 1 এ আমাদের একটা word limit হচ্ছে 150 words. and task 2 তে আমাদের ওয়ার্ড লিমিট হচ্ছে 250 ওয়ার্ডস। সো ন্যাচারালি আমাদের টাস্ক 2 তে একটু বেশি টাইম ডেডিকেট করতে হয় rather than in task 1. তো task 1 এ আমরা assume করি যে a student should be spending not more than 20 minutes, and task 2 তে a student should be spending not more than 40 minutes. তারপরও এটা একটু এদিক ওদিক হয়, but that's okay, but we try to we keep the student keep practicing. আমাদের স্টুডেন্টরা যারা আমাদের এখানে যারা প্র্যাকটিস করছে বা যারা ক্লাস করছে, before they give their exams they have an excellent preparation, and most of them they can finish it as early as possible, because we give them the tips, we give them the way to write, they know the structures. Because I mean, একটু add করে একটা জিনিস, if you know the structures of how to answer the questions, for example the different types of task 1 questions, the different types of task 2 questions, if we know the way to write them, if we know how should we start, if we know what should go in the body, what should go in the conclusion, then it's easy for the student to, you know, to write, to collect the information and just arrange them in that order. So আমাদের স্টুডেন্টদেরকে আমি ওভাবে করে একটা স্ট্রাকচার ফলো করতে বলি, and they know যে কোনো type of question আসলে they're prepared যে হ্যাঁ এরকম করে আমাদের answer করা উচিত. So that makes it very easy for them to answer the question in before that time.
Thank you so much, Abdullah sir, for all of that information.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And I'd just like to add that if any of our viewers wants to join our classes, we will be hopefully reopening our offices very soon. But admissions are definitely open, and Abdullah sir as well is taking excellent IELTS online classes at the moment. If you're interested to enroll, there's a discount ongoing. You can also email us at info@pibd.com or call our hotline number to know more. So thank you, Abdullah sir, for joining us today.
You're welcome, Sarah, and thank you to everyone. If you have any information or if you have any confusion, please feel free to ask us, info@pibd.com, as Sarah has just said, or there's a website, there's a Facebook page. You may log in there and just message the admin panels. We will be always there. We'll be replying you in 24 hours. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.